What a long, strange trip indeed. I left you hanging a bit since part one, talking about integration. And so this episode's going to focus on that, while I'm also going to integrate your integration into where I left you off in part two, which was, who are you? What is the meaning of life? So, of course, it's important to understand what you're trying to integrate into and how to do that exactly. But first, let's discuss a bit about who you are. And if you're anything like me, I bet you've always been a deep thinker, a philosophical poet, curious observer, the articulate, misunderstood loner, and the blunt, tell it like it is go-to person when they really want to hear the truth. And some people might wonder how you know so much. How did you learn all this wisdom? But that just comes back to your nature. Like, have you ever wondered why, when you hear those prophetic words from someone like Alan Watts or Eckhart Tolle, or greater yet, like Lao Tzu, the Buddha, or the Krishna, they immediately resonate? Their words are already your truth. When you read what Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, do everything you have to do, but not with greed, not with ego, not with lust, not with envy, but with love, compassion, humility, and devotion. You already know this. You wonder why anyone would need to say this. Isn't this already understood? What's the point of saying something that's already a given? Why point out the obvious? Well, it's a reminder amidst all the other non-conscious humans that have us forget about who we are. And of course, for those who are learning to become more conscious, they have to program these things into their new belief systems. But for us, we don't need to learn. We already admit all of this. We already know all of this. But as I said, we often need a reminder, the confirmation that the way we are is the way. And the way we are is what many will try to rob from us, have us believe that they have a better way to be. But the truth is that they are not the awakened ones. They want us to go back to being sheep. I mean, asleep. However, there's no going back for us. There never was a sleep mode because we were born awake in a world full of sleepy people. Now, in part two of the series, left you with the questions of who are you and what is the meaning of life? And those are two very big questions. Who are you to be so awake, so conscious, to be aware of what everything is and what everything is not? Because with this awareness, you have knowledge of other realms, other dimensions, other vibrations. You know things without it being said. You feel things without them being known, and you hear things without questioning their origins. You are connected. But this connection requires integration. You are connected not just with your five senses, but there are some others that I will introduce you to on a physical level and on a spiritual level. And I'll explain why these are so important to our understanding of who we are and how we learn what the meaning of life is. Now, if you look up the five senses and you ask it to expand and tell you more beyond your sense of sight, smell, taste, sound, and touch, we are picking up information from all five of our senses. Also, that sixth sense of intuition. Yes, we know that one very well, which is sourced from our sacral chakra, from our gut. And you know what is produced in the gut is something called serotonin. That is not, it is not created in the brain. It is not made in the brain. That is one of those hormones that we make in our gut. And so if our sacral chakra is off, we are not creating that serotonin that is giving us that sensation of intuition and insight, then we are cut off from our physical body. We need our physical body just as we need our spiritual self, but sometimes those two get disconnected. So this is what the integration is all about. Now, if you can understand that there is a sixth sense that is of movement of your physical body, and in that movement, we want to suggest this as balance. Balance. your ability, your physical body's ability to be in balance and what that represents in your overall life. When you think about all of those asanas in your yoga practice that require you to stand on just one leg, tree pose, or even birds of paradise, one of my favorites. So to test your balance as a spiritual being, you need to connect with your body. While the world is spinning out there, you feel like you've lost control. Just standing in tree pose can allow your awakened state to experience a sense of connection to the present moment, in the here and now. But on top of that, also not judging yourself, being playful, seeing what happens internally as you're trying to stand on one leg. Those balancing poses represent more than your ability to balance your body, but also an indicator as to how in balance with your own systems, with your own energy centers that you are. And oftentimes you have to keep your eye on one spot. If your eyes are darting all around, you will lose balance. Got to stay focused on one thing. And that one thing is the present moment. Keep coming back to that. Keep returning back to this moment, the here and now, to stay grounded and balanced. Even as you are walking a straight line, having a sense of centeredness as you move each step in the present moment. You are continuously walking in the present moment. There is no future. There is no past. You're always in the here and now. Now, the next one to consider is another sense that you have, is your sense of bodily awareness, that your physical body is here, that it is real. And this is one that many sensitive people may not have a sense of, because there's so many other senses that you're picking up from your environment that can have you disconnected from your own body. Dissociation is very common for us living in a world that is overstimulating and surreal. So it's important for us in our awakened state to give ourselves a way to feel a sense of our physical bodies again. Because if you think that you are feeling dull, it's not your spirit that is dulled, but the home that you're providing for your spirit that has lost its spark. The best thing you can do to improve your body, this house for your soul, to do some heavy lifting, do some pushing, do some pulling, bring some sensation back into the body. Weight training, Tai Chi, Qigong, use resistance bands, use weighted things on your wrists or your feet. Feel the weight of your body. Put on a weighted blanket. Feel that weight. Roll your body on a foam roller. Go swimming. Get into the water. Feel the sensation there. You can feel both the lightness and the heaviness. This is how we feel that connection again to the physical body. We must not forget that sense that we have of being alive in a body. Now, this next one is the internal body signals. And this is where we may have not only just dissociated from the body or not have a sense of our own physical body, but a complete disconnection to the point of ignoring the physical body. We might even ignore our own signs of hunger, the need to go to the washroom until it's painful, until there's this urgency. And we may also overdo certain things, not aware of the damage that it's causing our body, because the body appears to be something that we're not a part of, especially when we are so oversensitive to our other senses that we might be using substances or self-medicating habits that keep us numb from all of that, especially if we're overloaded from the pains and emotions of other people that we feel that we have taken on. Now, remember, our physical body is a complex network of nerves. Our nervous system, our muscular skeletal system. And in my opinion, it makes a fantastic home for a spiritual soul. It's an electromagnetic system that is designed for creation. So we need to work together on this. When I say we, I mean the spirit and the body. That is part of the integration. That is part of the integrative collaboration that we have to join forces on. If we're on high alert all day, we might miss our own bodily cues. So this is where the practice of relaxation and mindfulness come in handy for us. And we have to give ourselves opportunities to check in with ourselves, ask ourselves, what does my body need right now? Because if you're disconnected from this as a part of your awakened being, you're going to lose a sense of who you are and what your needs are. If you're simply just operating on a soul level, your spiritual ascension has already been taken care of. And the only reason that you're going to continue to struggle is because of the misalignment with the physical body. You know, you are using all of your five senses, hopefully. You're not numbing them, but when you are using all of them, you are open to that sixth intuitive sense, that psychic ability, a mental mastery. That is your ability to realign any negative thoughts with more empowering ones that are sourced from your higher self. And so if you've been doing that, but your physical body is in pain, you've been neglecting it. You're thinking it's just going to sort itself out, but that's not always the way it works. It needs its own special time. So that comes down to regulating the nervous system. That comes down to mindfulness practices in the here and now. That comes down to you mentally clearing out any old karmic waste from your physical body. Now, I'll get back to that. But I want to have you consider some other senses that exist, like your ability to detect ego, especially your own, so you can more quicker get into that desired state of being, which is peace and calm. Your ability to shift into calm in the face of ego, and to also sense and detect others' ego without judgment, but especially your own. That is like imperative to your own integration, is to be able to always have a finger on that pulse. Another sense you're going to have is the sense of your own soul. This one is your ability to know karma directly in real time. You understand all of life's purposes, not only in yourself, but in others. And you see everything as breaking free from toxic controls in the nervous system that then removes the soul's need for any sort of control, because now you have this healed body in place. They are working together. They are succinct. They are integrated. Karma is going to be held in the physical body. But now with that sense of detecting those ties, those old soul contracts, you are now cleansed and cleared of any past karmic ties. You have that sense, that awareness, that view, that understanding clearly what they were and how they need to be removed, how they need to be physically removed from the physical body. Those things do not attach themselves to the soul, but to the physical body, which you will feel as pain. And if not physical pain, mental anguish, something that keeps repeating, ruminating, that you need to remove from the mental mind, which is part of the physical body. Okay, so that soul sense on that level, that you have it. You just have to acknowledge it. That sense is the ability to remove that karmic weight that you've been holding on to in that physical body, in that mental mind. Your soul already knows, that it can let go, but the body doesn't. The mind doesn't. This is where that's that disconnect. This is where you have not yet integrated. So the body carries on repeating these old behaviors from the past until you catch on to this and you learn to teach the body how to let it go. You learn how to teach the mind how to let it go. And all of that is done through the practice of present moment awareness on purpose without judgment. And the without judgment is where our karmic pasts and those egoic characters still want to have a say. They still want to hold on to that. So long as they're holding on to that, you can't integrate. Can't integrate into something that's holding on to that karmic weight. It needs to be released. So to be fully embodied as a spiritual awakened soul that you are, means you have to learn how to communicate, not only with your spirit, which you're already very well at doing, but with your physical body. And that physical body can only be found in the here and now. So, who are you? You are a complex network of nerves here to support your electromagnetic field as a soul in a human body. Which brings me to answer that other question of what is the meaning, the purpose of life? And if you haven't gathered by now, it's to live in the present moment on purpose, without judgment, as if your life depended on it, because it does.